election season, Channel 1 TV is bringing you closer to every vote, every constituency, and every result. Our team will provide in-depth data-driven analysis to show you what each vote means for our nation.
And then the opposition lead candidate is from Savannah.
Yes.
So this is the main battleground.
Yes.
So this type of...
They have done a good job in getting the two areas.
Exactly. So those are the two issues. I don't know whether this makes sense so far.
It's brilliant stuff so far. Brilliant stuff.
Let me now do something quite interesting. So even though the Greater Accra has the lowest voter intention, in our view, based on the program I did with Sanda, they will still be a deciding factor.
Yeah.
Why? Because the sheer size of the region's constituencies means that if a party loses guard, the gap will be big. Now let's do a few things. Let me show you the kind of gaps we are referring to in terms of voter results, so that you see the size of it. So for example, Greater Accra overall, in 2020, Mahama had 1.32 million. Akufo-Addo had 1.253. So it was not a very big gap. But individual constituencies were massive. So let's start with, for example, Dome Kwabenya. So let me go to...
So before that, Bernard, we know that there are certain constituencies like the Dome Kwabenyas and quite a number of them that usually have the huge voter numbers.
Yes, please.
Before you take us through that, has it changed? Or
Good. It's a very good question. So if I did purely which constituencies have the numbers, Dome Kwabenya, 1, Ashaiman, 2.
Ashaiman is one of the big ones.
Amasaman, this is just the Greater Accra list. 3, Adenta, 4, Lejokuku 5, Madina 6. These are your top.
6,
But interesting point, when you go to percentage change, the places that actually increase their share in terms of compared to 2020, Ayawaso, West Wuogon, and Sege.
Hey.
And
Ayawaso, West Wuogon.
And my theory is that Ayawaso, West Wuogon in 2020 there was COVID. Registration campus was a lot of people went back home to register. When I was in the University of Ghana, Legon was the biggest voting block in Ayawaso, West Wuogon. So my theory is that
the deciding factor for Ayawaso.
So my theory is that in 2020 it was an anomaly because the students went home because of COVID. But now that they are back on campus, they grew. Ayawaso, West Wuogon grew by 14%. Much higher than the regional average. So even though Greater Accra grew by 6%, Ayawaso West Wuogon grew by 14%. So that's theory 1. Sege, I don't understand Sege. 13% growth. Sanda thinks it's because of maybe the salt thing. Maybe people have moved there for the
McDonald's thing.
Maybe that's what he's saying, because there's no other explanation for Sege.
So jobs?
Possibly. We don't know. There's probably a new migration wave there.
We need to
follow
up on
Good.
that.
So the reason you asked about the gaps. So let's go back to the Greater Accra, just by way of reminder. Of your top 10, 7 are from Accra. And of your top 20, 13 are from Accra. By way of interest, in your top 20, Western has 2. But they are outside the top 10. In the top 10, Volta has 1, which is Ketu South. Ashanti has 1, Kwabere East. Central, Ewutu Senya East is actually number 3 in Ghana. So those make up the top 10. The 7 Greater Accra, Ewutu Senya East,
and then Ashanti,
Kwabere East, and then Ketu South. They are your top 10. Now, Kwabere East and Ketu South are strongholds of the 2 opposing parties. So the gaps will be big. Ewutu Senya East is MPP, but the gap is not that big.
It's narrowing now,
Good. Now, let's take the reason why Dome Kwabenya is interesting. So Dome Kwabenya is 182,000 voters. In 2020, there was a 28,000 vote margin. Vivian, 28,000 votes. It's a lot of votes.
It's a lot.
So Akufo-Addo's advantage over John Mahama was 28K. All right. Let's take another of the MPP strongholds where they get a lot. Trobu, which has 145,000 votes. The gap was 32,000 votes. 66K for Akufo-Addo, 34 for Mahama. All right, so I'm doing the MPP ones first. Let's take another place MPP tends to do well in this area. Anyaso Utum, 144,000 votes. The gap is 65 minus 34. That's 31,000 votes. You see where I'm going? Take Wejak Bawe, a big constituency, 118,000. The voter gap is 48 minus 17K.
You know, before it was split to, you know, all that. I remember
was the biggest.
when they are counting,
yes.
and you are the party that loses, your heart, you just give up.
So I've given you the MPP big boys.
Yeah.
In Greater Accra. Let me give you the NDC big boys. Ashaiman, 174K registered voters. Mahama 76K. Akuado 41K. What's the difference there? That's 25,000.
Yeah.
That's a lot of votes, right? Another big boy for the NDC, not so big as the MPP one, you could say, is Adenta. 60K, 52K, just 8K.
Yeah, that's not.
All right, it's not that big. Medina as well, 158,000 voters, 60, 48, 12K.
Yeah.
12K margin for. But come to Katamanso, 136,000 registered voters, 54K Mahama, 37 Akufo-Addo. So that's a pretty healthy margin.
Yeah.
Not as big as Domeko Abidjan,
but
certainly
that, not
because 37 to 47 is 10. So about
it's good. It's a
13K.
Yeah.
Ningo Pram Pram, another big boy, 104K. The gap 18K, 49K, right? So look at this. So Domeko Trobu gave you a 30K gap for MPP. Samuel George has also given NDC a 31K gap. So let's do something interesting. Add Ningo Pram Pram to Trobu. What do you have? Sorry, let me add Ningo Pram Pram to Trobu.
Ningo Pram Pram to Trobu.
Right? It evens out.
So you are now giving the numbers thing. How
Trobu gave MPP 30K.
Yeah.
Ningo Pram Pram gave NDC about 30K.
About 30.
When you put the two together, 249,000 voters. Akufo-Addo 85, Mahama 84. So the key to Greater Accra is if you manage to turn out large in your stronghold, you have a chance.
Good.
Now, the reason this is an interesting discussion is that the voter intention is low. Does it mean that they won't vote for their leading candidates? The government people won't vote, or will they vote for a third party? So in Greater Accra, the gaps are big if you turn out well. So in my view, Greater Accra can be decided if a group of supporters decide to stay away. That's when the gap becomes significant. All right. So I think when we come back, we can go to them. But let me show you your constituency.
Lojokuku.
You have two constituencies. You are from La. Let me do that in 2 minutes.
And then I live at Teshnungo Estate.
You are from La.
And then I work at, you don't know, but I have 4 constituencies.
Okay, so let's go to La first.
So let's start with
Now, you are from La, right?
Yeah.
La is called Dade Kotopo.
Dade Kotopo.
So 126K is a big number. NDC gets 9K votes.
NDC usually does well.
Then you go to Lejokuku,
that's
162, 9K gap. All right. Let me add La to Dade Kotopo, 288,000. The gap is around 17,000. Where do you work now?
Now I work at Tesano, but I still
Where did
work
you used
at
to work?
Kole Clotte. So let's go there.
Let me add Kole Clotte. It's almost 400,000 voters. And the gap is now 145 minus 123. When you do a coastal analysis, it's very interesting. You add Krowo. There's a lot of people who live on the coast. When you add Ododo, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's almost 1 million. From Ododo, if I add Ablekuma South, from Ablekuma South, I'm not even at Tema yet. I'm almost 1 million voters.
Yeah. And this 1 million voters, it's swaying towards the NDC.
The cost is for NDC.
Yeah.
Generally, the cost is for NDC because you see 344, 299. So I'm starting, although if I add these other ones, it closes up. Botiano, MPP1 is closing. Wejagbawe is closing. Ablekuma West is now closing.
Okay, Bella, it's getting exciting. I need to take a quick break. It's just the Situation Room. My name is Vivian Kailuk. I'm here with Bernard Avila. We're looking at the numbers. The numbers for registration, not just the numbers, but the percentages as well. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
How to live long needs no charm. Nana Sase, the writer king who sips communion wine from the calabash, invites you to Mental Pictures 8, a colorful night of literary renditions and cultural expressions dubbed Bejina Reloaded, The Child Who Will Stay. Date 22nd November 2024. Venue, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel. Time, 6 p.m. Secure your seat with 100 Ghana cedis and experience this night of Ghanaian and African folklore embodied in poetry, dance, music, and your best imagination. Call 0244-924932 for tickets and all enquiries, or purchase your tickets on short code *365*88*539#. Sponsors: Ghana Export Promotion Authority.
Media partners: Channel 1 TV, Hits FM, Joy FM. Partner: Labari Beach Hotel.
This event is powered by Asase Inscription, Ghana's first literary coaching agency and cultural consultancy.
This election season, Channel 1 TV is bringing you closer to every vote, every constituency, and every result. Our team will provide in-depth data-driven analysis to show you what each vote means for our nation.
From the campaign trail to voting day and the final declaration of results, Channel 1 Television is covering it all. We'll be on the ground in all 276 constituencies, so every voice is heard and every community represented.
Our comprehensive election coverage brings you every key moment and every voice,
with updates from all stakeholders nationwide. This is election news you can trust, powered by the latest data and expert analysis.
Join us on Channel 1 TV for election coverage that keeps you informed and engaged.
We're here for every step of the journey.
Channel 1 TV, your election bureau.
Thank you for staying with us. It is the Situation Room, and this is the Election Bureau, and we're bringing you the numbers in terms of the voter registration numbers for the 2024 elections. We've looked at the general numbers for the whole country. Now we're moving to the North proper, which has some interesting developments there in terms of those who really are eager to vote this time around. My theory is that because the two main guys are from there, they may have whipped up some, interest over there.
And what is even interesting is that, Vivian, Mahama is from Savannah, Baumia is from Northeast. So somehow, the battleground is now North. Because they are both neighbors. Don't forget the chart I showed you. Voter intensity is high for all three areas. Okay. Now, if you look at registrations in terms of percentage, let's start with Savannah. Savannah had a 14% growth in registered voters. It's only 44,000, but 14% is a very high percentage. So Savannah registered 14% more, almost 15% more people to register, right? Let's look at Northeast. Northeast, 17%. 50K. So Savannah had 44K, Northeast had 50K. Now, they are not monolithic. Everybody in Northeast doesn't vote for Baumia. Everybody in Savannah doesn't vote for Mahama. In fact, let me prove that to you. Let's run through. Let's start from Yagaba Kobori. They had 21% increase in voters, 6K. The MPP won 17K, NDC 9K. So it's like an 8K gap. Okay, that's Yagaba Kobori. Let's do Wale Wale, Baumia's hometown. 16% increase in voters. MPP 32,000, NDC 28,000. It's only 4K.
It's so close
it's
for,
close,
his
right?
hometown.
Now, let's do Nalerugu Gambaga. 14% increase. Mahama actually wins it. 31,000, Akubado 29,000. So it's not monolithic. Come to Bumpurugu. 23% increase, 9,000 new voters. Mahama wins it. All right.
This is
2020.
What's his guy? A guy, our friend, his constituency. He will work with us.
I forget. I'll come back.
The reggae guy.
No. That's
not the reggae guy.
His own is No, he's in the north.
Okay.
He's in the north,
Okay.
yes. I know, Erasmus Barak.
That's,
No,
he'll kill me.
now then you have, where am I now?
Okay, so move away from that.
So Unio.
Yeah.
Unio, 16% increase in voters. NDC wins it.
Okay.
Presidential.
And that's very close, 10
yes.
and 9.
And then the last, Chereponi, 13% increase in voters, MPP wins it. So if you look at the spread, it's evenly split between the two parties.
Yeah.
All right. So you cannot conclude that because
he's from there,
yes,
whoever is from
so when
there.
you take the whole northeast region, 50,000 new voters, 17% increase. We don't know who that benefits.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's go to Savannah to see how that works. Savannah is John Mahama's home region. Again, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 constituencies. 14% increase is high. Not as high as Northeast, maybe 2% lower. Let's start from here. Salaga North, Mahama wins it 51 to 47%. 27% increase in voters. That is a lot.
That's a lot.
27% increase in voters.
Almost
Salaga
twice
North.
the amount for the national
Good.
average.
Check another big boy here. Daboya Mankregu, 16% increase in voters. Akufo-Addo wins it by 2K. All right. Take Salaga South, 18% increase in voters. Mahama wins it by almost 8,000.
Yeah.
All right. Then you come to Yape Kosou. This is the John Jinapo.
Yeah.
14% increase. Mahama wins it by almost 16,000 votes.
Yeah.
65%, 32%. So dominant NDC. But come to his brother.
Yeah.
Damongo. 19% increase. Even though Mahama wins it, it's just a 4,000 gap.
Close, yeah.
Right? So you can tell Samuel Jinapo is closing the gap there. So whilst NDC has some places in Northeast, MPP has some places in Savannah as well.
And Damongo used to be won by the NDC for a long time.
Yes. Indeed, he won, the MPP candidate won the parliamentary, even though presidential Mahama wins it. Let's do the other last two. Solatuna Kalba, 10% increase national average. NDC wins it. Look at that.
And the margin is huge.
74% to 22%. It behaves like the Upper West region. Big margin.
Isn't this Laurentius constituency?
Originally. Then Bole Bamboy, Mahama's hometown, is from Bole. Only 8% increase in registered voters. But his gap, he has 80%.
Yeah.
Akufo-Addo has 18%. All right. Now, with Bawumia on the ticket, all of this changes. Now, Vivian, the reason why the North is more interesting is not beyond even the two home regions. It seems as if the North itself
has become...
Because if you go to your previous map, if you go to the results map, this region was split down the middle, 8-8 in 2020. So you cannot even say it's NDC stronghold. You get it? Indeed, Northeast was split, Savannah was split. So, and now look at the deep reds. I just want to show you the growth in voters. Let's start with this place. Tatale Sanguli, Vivian, 29.7% increase in voters, the highest in the whole country. Tatale Sanguli. This is almost unimaginable.
What led to that? It's curious, isn't it? How the numbers have really shot up there.
But this is explained. People say they want to vote.
So what is pushing the Tatale people?
I don't know.
I don't know if you're from Tatale or you vote in Tatale, you can send us a message to tell us why. I mean, from the numbers from the EC and then from the NCC.
So it's close to 10,000 new voters for a small constituency of 43,000 voters.
And the interest is
imagine you have 33,000 voters in 2020. And the number grows by almost 10K. And it's a very even split. Akufo-Addo gets 51, Mahama gets 47. So it's nobody's stronghold. All right, that's Tatale Sanguli. The other big boy in that neighborhood of registrants is Wulensi. 18% growth. Mahama and Akufo-Addo split down the middle. 50% Mahama, 48% Akufo-Addo. Wulensi grew by almost 9,000 voters. All right. Take another one. Bandai. 19% growth from 55 to 66,000. Mahama wins it with a 5,000 gap, 54-44. Bandai registered a lot of voters. I can even do Zabzugu. All this is north. Zabzugu, 24% increase.
Wow.
24%. And again, MPP wins it, 54-44. 17K Akufo-Addo, 14K Mahama. So if I could do a summary, but let me continue with the big boys. Yes, another one, Yendi. where there was a lot of controversy on the primaries for MPP.
Yeah.
16% growth, 12,000 new voters.
Aliu Mohammed San.
12,000 new registrations. And this is an MPP area. 60% MPP, 38% NDC. Yendi grew by 12K votes.
12K.
12,000 votes. Yendi, 12,000 votes. Vivian, it's very serious. Let's do another one here. Saboba.
Yeah.
Saboba has a growth of 19%, 7,000 new voters. MDC wins it 51-47. So the margins are not big. The voter growth, we don't know what it means. We don't know who's registering more.
Yeah.
So it is very.
We don't know the outcome.
So your team in the north must just pay attention.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Saboba. Where else am I? I've done Yendi. Let me do Yendi's neighbor, Mion. Mion is MPP holding that for parliamentary. 20% growth.
That's also
from
huge.
42 to 50K.
Yeah.
8,000 new voters. Akufo-Addo wins it 51-46. You notice that most of these places, it's a very close.
Very close.
Very close.
Very close.
You know, and a lot of this is traced to the growth of MPP in the north, because a lot of people believe that Bawumia coming in has made the north now sort of split.
Yeah.
And this is evidence of that.
Yeah.
When I started covering elections in 2004, the northern gaps were 65 to 35. MPP had no chance.
No chance.
So they've definitely grown there. Let's do another one.
You could tell before the elections, they finished counting who is taking that region. But now
Gushewu, 15% growth from 66 to 76,000. 10,000 new voters in Gushewu. Where are they coming from?
Yeah.
And that Gushewu gives you 52 Akufo-Addo, 46 Mahama.
So, Bernard, this 10,000, 15,000, 8,000, 7,000 we are seeing, are these new people, new voters, like people who've just turned 18, or people have moved? What do we know?
Okay, so let's put it this way. The national average is 10%. Anybody who has anything double of that is abnormal. That abnormality could be migration or moving people from one constituency to another. Now, what makes the north baffling is that if you go to central region, let me give you something. If you go to central region, the largest growth in voters is in Efutu. Is 28%. That 28% growth is higher than all the growth around it. So you can maybe let me explain that. You can use that to say that maybe people have moved from another constituency to that constituency.
All going there.
Do you get it? But the north is baffling because everybody is growing.
Yeah.
So is it a population that increased, or because a candidate is from there, they are now registering? Because in the central region case, let me do that briefly to them before I come back to the north. In the central region case, you can understand, or you can conclude that you notice that your biggest grower is Efutu. 28%.
18,000.
18,000 new voters. But if you look around Efutu, somebody like Gomwa East had only 6%, lower than national average. So you can say that when Efutu gains,
Gomwa loses.
because the region's average is 11%.
Yeah.
So you can say Gomwa East did not grow at all. Do you understand? So you can conclude that maybe Gomwa East people went to Efutu. You could even use the same for Gomwa West. They grew by only 8%.
Yeah.
When the region grew by 11%. So you can say maybe Gomwa West went to Efutu. You could even...
Gomwa Central, I see the numbers went up.
Gomwa Central is 9% growth.
Yeah.
But that's 21,000 new voters. All right? But take Efutu. Sorry, let me do it properly. Give me a minute. Take Efutu. Efutu grew by 28%, 18,000 voters. So my point is, you can understand Efutu because around it,
there's some reduction.
Yes, there are some places where the growth is below the national average. So you could say that maybe they got some from here. In fact, we heard Cynthia Morrison complain that in Agona, where is Agona West? In Agona West, she had a 10% increase. Some of her people went to register in Efutu or whatever. All right. So this, of course, Ewutu Senya East grew by
19K.
Yes, 12%, 19K. Okay. Yeah. So Vivian, this you can explain. The north is where it gets very, very interesting. So in answer to your question, I don't know, but let's wrap this up.
Okay.
All of these guys are growing. The region next to it is also growing.
Yeah.
Oti is also growing. So where are the people coming from? Let's do Karaga. 16% increase, almost 9,000. It was won by MPP by about 56 to 42%. Did I do Gushegu? Gushegu, 15% increase, 52, 46. Yeah. Did I do Savelugu?
No, you haven't.
Savelugu, grew by 16%. NDC Winship 50, MPP 47. Kumbungu. So I'm moving all across the region. It's not even just the Eastern Corridor. Kumbungu, this is where Rasmussen used to be.
Kumbungu, yeah.
16% increase. NDC Winship 6136. All right. Then I come to Tolon. 16% increase. MPP Winship 2923. So that's like a 6,000 gap. Now, the other funny thing is that the more urbanized places in the northern region didn't grow as much. So, for example, Tamale Central.
I was going to ask you that. Who is that tiny? Yeah.
Tamale Central.
Whose number?
Is Mutala. It's the most urbanized part of Tamale. Tamale Central. Tamale Central grew by only 6%.
Wow.
NDC won it by 60 to 38. So can we assume that maybe people who live in Tamale Central, their hometown could be any of those places around?
Okay.
So that the lower than average growth in Tamale Central could be explained by some of the growth. Take Tamale South as well, Haruna Idrisu. Tamale South, only 7% increase.
Wow.
Tamale South, by the way, is the largest constituency in the north.
Yeah.
But their growth was only 7%.
7.5.
Could it be that some of the people who live there are actually from
other places?
Because Tamale South is also very urbanized. Do you follow my logic? Let's try Alas and Suhini. He's from Tamale North. 12%. It's still...
Yeah, it's not so...
It's a bit higher than the 47 to 53,000 voters. Let's try Sagnerigu. They didn't grow that much as well. 11%. So maybe the more urbanized Tamale...
Because all the people around Tamale Central didn't do so well as compared to the dark patches we have.
So maybe she works in she works in Yankpala, but she's from Mion.
Yeah.
Or she lives at Vitin, but when it's registration time, she goes to Tolon to vote. This is the other one, Bimbila.
Yeah.
Bimbila is the second or third largest constituency in the north, apart from Tamale South. This is the defense minister's constituency, 11% growth, but it's a big base, 81 to 91K. So could it also mean that some of the Bimbila spread out? So my theory could be that Bimbila didn't grow that much because people went to register around. I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm probably just using. But the key takeaway: the more rural northern constituencies had higher than average growth in voter populations. The key, though, is that it's not really anybody stronger. When you take the north in total, this northern region, NDC wins it 53 to 45%. So that's about 63,000 votes difference. So this growth could mean anything.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to deep
now let me just do something quickly. Let me just show you. Let me add northeast to it to show you what I call the continuities. So you see, when you add northeast, this growth makes sense. You see, this is Kumbungu. This is Yakaba Kubore, they are neighbors. This is Savelugu. This is Walewali, they are neighbors. Savelugu is where the airport is, on your way to Eboga. This is Karaga. This is Nalerugu Gambaga. So people don't live with regional boundaries. So the growth is not necessarily region specific, it's area specific. All right. This is Gushehu. This is Yunyo. They are neighbors all the way to Tolon. So all of these guys have grown by higher than, in fact, let me show you the key. The growth they have is between 20 to something percent.
25.
You get it? So maybe there's some geographical thing happening beyond regions. Look at that. Okay. All of these guys are growing very deep red. All of these guys are growing very deep red. Look at that. The only people who haven't grown that much, Bimbila, the four Tamale constituencies. So all of these guys are higher than 20% growth in voters. The only people who haven't grown that much, Tamale Central, Tamale South, Sagnerigu, Tamale North, Bimbila.
Okay. All right. Well, I have to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll wrap up with the north and the other places. Maybe you can add the upper east, the upper west, and any other northern side that is left to see the whole picture on the north side proper. It's a situation room. We'll be right back.
Now, since 2017, the MPP has invested heavily in healthcare infrastructure. I don't even want to talk about zipline drones that have today saved over 1.2 million lives. We've completed 6 out of the 9 stalled and abandoned Eurojet health sector projects that we inherited since 2017. And we've started and completed new 47 non-Agenda 111 hospitals, clinics, and healthcare projects, including 21 clinics through IPEP. We've also started 17 non-Agenda 111 hospitals, clinics, and healthcare projects currently at various stages of completion, including 5 clinics through IPEP. And we started 21 new treatment and holding centers, 13 of which have been completed. Also, Agenda 111. That's a different debate. So if you're looking for the party or the candidate who represents the most investment in healthcare infrastructure, not just one hospital in a particular place, but spread in many parts of the country, that party, that candidate is Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia.
The Situation All White Christmas Party is back! This Christmas Eve, forget the usual and step into a celebration like none other. The Situation All White Christmas Party is taking over the city with music, magic, and memories waiting to be made. Think cozy vibes, electric beats, and the perfect blend of festive cheer and wild energy all in one space. Date 24th December 2024. Venue The Underbridge, East Legon. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. Come and dance like nobody's watching. Sip, mingle, make merry, and unwrap the ultimate Christmas Eve experience. Dress to impress, bring your holiday spirit, and let's make the Situation All-White Christmas Party unforgettable. Call 0205 973 973 for table reservations and get ready to party! It's going to be lit at the Underbridge. The Situation All White Christmas Party 2024 is powered by Channel 1 TV with support from 97.3 City FM.
Welcome back to the Situation Room. We're looking at the northern part of the country, this time around becoming a key battleground for the 2024 elections. Remember, Greater Accra region, Ashanti region, Central region, now even Eastern region, and now the Northern region joins the big boys who can actually determine where your party is going to make inroads and win the elections or not. So today we're zooming into the Northern region. Remember yesterday, Umaru Sanda and Bernard looked at the Greater Accra region. So we'll wrap up on the Northern region. If there's time, we'll probably go to Bono. Interesting, but
what the Northern region, in my view, may not be very deterministic in the election results. You know why? Because the two leading parties have become closer to each other. The key to Ghana elections is what you call a delta analysis. The gap, the gaps in the north will not be big. So the Northern region may become the new Greater Accra. The Ashanti Volta Oti dynamic rather
still holds.
And the Bono East, because North is closing in on each other. So even though the new people are registered, because the fight is so fierce, they may just cancel each other out. So
that makes sense.
The places that I think we should look at, a place like Upper East. Upper East has been very strong NDC. And the registrations are very healthy. We don't know what they mean though. So the average growth is 12%. 81,000 new voters. So there were 659,000, 741,000. Look at where the numbers have come from. Pusiga, 25% growth. 11,000. Pusiga. All right. This is part of the Boku enclave. All right. Let's deal with another big grower. Binduri. 18% growth. 6,800. Another big grower in North Garu. 16% growth. 5,400. Another one is Bolga East, 18%. Dominic Ayine. All right. These are the 4 biggest growers. Then you have a couple more. You take Timpani, 13%, not too bad, 6,000. Then you take.
No, the next.
Just give me a minute. After Timpani, I've given you Garu already.
So here.
Sorry.
That one.
The other one would be Zebila.
Yeah.
This is Avoca. It used to be called Boku West. 13, almost 14% growth. Key point. The lowest grower in this enclave is Boku Central. And I think you know why.
Yeah.
So Boku Central has lost voters, only 5%. This is lower than the national average. It tells you that whilst everybody has gained more, Boku Central hasn't grown that much. Could they have gone to register in Binduri, Pusiga? We don't know. Could they have gone
that
to
some of them
Binduri?
are moving to Bolgatanga.
Yes, because see,
side.
if you take the 3 surrounding constituencies to Boku Central, the average growth is 18. In fact, if you take the 3 biggest growers in that enclave, they are near Boku. So, and they grew by 20%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Boku grew by 5%. So I think we are making some progress here. Now let's deal with the other part of the region where the growth came. Bolga East. Could they be beneficiaries of the Boku exodus? Because you know that when you're driving up north, Bolga East is having a lot of new hotels. It's very close to Bolga itself. That could be benefiting from. So you notice that the growth is in Zebila, it comes to Nabdam, and then Bolga East. Bolga Central itself doesn't grow that much, only 6%. Maybe it's full. All right, we don't know. The other 2 growers in the Upper East are Bulsa North, 14%, Clementa Park, Bulsa South, 14%. That's Agalga James. They are the 2 MPs in that area. So the 2 least growers, Boku Central, Bolga Central. A few points of note, places like Tiana Paga, 11%. Navrongo Central, 10%. All right. Then you have Bongo, 9%, a little below the average. Then you have Talensi, 10%, national average. So Vivian, we can conclude that clearly Boku has suffered. Pusiga, Binduri, and Garu probably have benefited from that. Certainly Bolga East has also benefited from the spread. So, but overall, because the NDC does very well here, let me look at the population, the results to give you an idea of why they may be interesting to see. So let's look at Bolga East. 69, 28%.
Wow.
7,000 gap. All right. Let's take Pusiga, 8,000 gap for NDC in 2020. Let's take Binduri, 9,000 gap. Now, by the way, the situation in Boku could influence votes there as well, where for some time, even the MPP MPs in the 6 Kusol areas said they're not even going to campaign. All right? Look at Garu, NDC wins. So NDC is pretty strong in Upper East. I think MPP has only 1 parliamentary seat in the region. Everywhere else, John Mahama won. All right? So we don't know whether obviously the beneficiary for this registration, the thing is that you don't know who's registering and how they will vote. So you can't conclude that because in fact, even if you go to Ashanti, I'll show you something. If you go to Ashanti, the growth in Ashanti is not necessarily, I'll show you something, just for shaggy reasons, right? So you go to Ashanti region. All right. Now, if you look at the map carefully, Ashanti grows by 9%. 275,000, that's big. But where are the deep reds? Let's start with this. Sechafran Plains. Sechafran Plains is where NDC won.
NDC won, yeah.
Does it mean they registered more? Does it mean people registered more? We don't know. Because Baobia was in that area this week. But Sechafran Plains is 21% growth in voters. Does that favor MPP or NDC? We can't tell. The other big one, Ofinsu North. 3,000 gap, MPP wins it. The other big grower, if Jurassic Cheduma say 14%, NDC wins it. What does that tell? We don't know. Here are a few more. Ahafo North. It's not that big margin, 54, 44 for MPP. Then you come to Ahafo Southwest, 5,000 gap. Then you come to Ahafo Southeast, 4,000 gap. My point is, these increase in numbers have to be studied better to know the flows and to also know the dynamics of who was registering before you can conclude. Let's end with Upper West, because I think we are doing a North discussion today. So Upper West region, 10%. This is a national average. So they have a normal growth. The biggest grower in Upper West is Dafema Busi Isa, 17%. NDC stronghold, Upper West, very strong. The other place that grew, Jirapa,
okay.
20,000 gap.
Yeah.
And they grew by 13%. 20,000 gap for Jirapa. That's almost like Samuel George. Serious. 26K, 6K. All right. Then you have a few other growers. Sisala West, 5,000 gap. They grew by 10%. Wow West, it was a 11% growth. 11%. The gap is 17K.
Yeah.
Wa Central, big gap for NDC, 47 to 23K. 11% growth as well. Nadoli Kaleo, Abangbabin, 20,000 gap. Right? So Upper West put together is a big place for NDC, 238K, 121K. But I can tell you that you can just put a few constraints together in Accra, and it wipes it out. But the gaps are the issues, right? The other one here, Wild West, 2113, growth by 9%. So the growth in Upper West is pretty normal. Put Upper West and Upper East together to see what we have.
Let's see.
So Upper East and Upper West put together. Let's see what we have as we wrap this up. You have 1.2 million voters, 11% growth in voter numbers. NDC wins it by 64 to 32%. So together, it's their stronghold. I don't know if you have time for me to touch on the Middle Belt. Otherwise, we do it on a different show. There's something else happening in the Middle Belt where you have Oti, Bono East, and Ahafo. So apart from the north, the places that had the biggest registrations were Oti, Bono East, and Ahafo. Let me give you Bono East. Bono East average of 13% growth. Where are the big growers? In Kranza North, 17%. MPP won it. Pro West, 19% growth. NDC wins it, but very similar to MPP. So when you put the two together, look at that. When you put these two together, 49 MPP, 49 NDC. The other big grower is Sene West, 18% growth. NDC wins it 62 to 35. Okay, so if you pick the three big growers, there are the other growers here, like in Kintampo North, Kintampo South, 14% growth, not bad. NDC has an advantage there. Then you pick Pro East, 14% growth. NDC has a big advantage, 70-30, pretty big. You have Sene East, again an NDC stronghold. So generally this region favors NDC. 13% increase in voters. What does it mean? We don't know. Its counterfactual is Bono, which didn't grow that much. Right? If you take Bono itself, this one, Bono grew by 10%.
Oh dear.
The biggest grower is Banda, 18%. Then you have Brekum West, 17%. Then you have Doma West, 21%. Those are the three biggest growers. And by the way, the results for Doma West and Banda all favor NDC. But when you add Brekum West, it evens out for MPP. Bono needs further explanation. Last but not least, Ahafo. I don't know if I have some time to do Ahafo for you. Ahafo is the last region. Forgive me. Why do I keep Ashanti? Let me do Ahafo. Take out Ashanti. Ahafo, as I said to you, all the south versus the north. The three biggest growers are all south. Tano South, 16%. Esutifi South, 15%. Esunafo South, 17%. So more registrations in the south than in the north. And generally, NDC does better in the south than in the north. When you put the region together, 13% growth, 42,000 new voters. MPP's advantage is a 10% gap. Keep an eye on the three Ahafo regions, the three Bono regions as well.
This is interesting. So I guess we'll move to the Ahafo tomorrow. Or
anything you want to do. The thing there is there.
We decide where to go. But this is great stuff.
It's there.
This is great. I enjoy the northern one. Gives us good perspective on what to expect and all that. But unfortunately, our time is up. When the discussions get exciting and then they hit the bell and say our time is up, so we have to leave it there. And then tomorrow bring you another exciting edition for the Situation Room. And of course, I did this with Bernard Avle. My name is Vivian Kai Loco. Stay with the conversations. Just make sure you use the hashtag Ghana Polls 2024 so you don't miss out on anything. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.